The title of BLACKPINK's upcoming world tour in 2025 was just revealed, but rather than excitement, fans are raising concerns about potential financial issues at YG. There are murmurs that members might be coerced into participating. Suspicion surrounding the odd timing has taken over. Was this tour genuinely planned for BLACKPINK, or is there something YG is trying to conceal? On February 5th, a teaser was released suggesting a highly anticipated tour. However, with no dates or specifics provided, fans were left puzzled and the timing felt even more bizarre. The members were still concentrated on solo endeavors, making a group tour unexpected for many. Additionally, YG had yet to announce any plans for a comeback, leading many fans to feel rushed, as if YG hastily put out the tour announcement without a solid strategy. One commenter noted, "It's rather sudden considering they didn't even brand the tour, it's merely called the 2025 World Tour." Finally, on February 19th, YG unveiled the official tour itinerary. BLACKPINK would start in Goyang on July 5th and 6th, then travel to North America by the end of July and make their way to Europe, kicking off on August 2nd in Paris at Stade de France. The tour would conclude with a 3-day finale at the Tokyo Dome in January 2026. Additional dates were added due to strong demand, yet even with this influx of information, fans remained uneasy as no comeback had been disclosed. The entire situation felt off. Was this just a rehash of their previous tour with a few modifications? Would they perform new songs before officially releasing them? Or could YG be planning something unexpected midway through the tour? Nobody seemed to know what to anticipate, which only heightened the uncertainty. As you may recall, BLACKPINK's contract situation dominated headlines in 2023, with their YG agreements set to expire in September. Everyone was curious to see if they would choose to remain or depart. Fans believed YG would strive to retain them given they were the company's most significant act, but it was also evident that the girls desired greater autonomy, especially with how restricted they appeared in their music and promotions. Ultimately, they made a surprising yet wise decision. They stayed united as BLACKPINK, yet branched out for solo careers, and that choice proved profitable quickly. Within months, 3 members initiated their own labels and released solo music at a pace that eclipsed BLACKPINK's group catalog. By late 2024 and early 2025, solo projects were released one after another. Rosé's single arrived in December, while Jisoo launched Amourage on February 14th. Lisa's Alter Ego followed on February 28th, and Jennie's Ruby came out on March 7th. Jisoo and Jennie even embarked on mini tours, while Lisa and Jennie were set to perform at Coachella in April. Just when it seemed things would quiet down ahead of summer, at first look, it appeared that BLACKPINK was preparing to promote as a group again, especially since they had renewed their commitment with YG for group activities. Yet behind the scenes, that narrative might not have reflected the full story for many. This wasn't some meticulously strategized comeback linked to their contract renewal, nor was it occurring because the members were eager to reunite. Increasingly, fans speculated the real reason was simple. YG could be facing difficulties and this tour might be their final attempt to remedy the situation. Everyone understands that BLACKPINK is the cornerstone of YG. Even though groups like Treasure and Baby Monster debuted after them, none have achieved BLACKPINK's level of success. Consequently, when the members opted not to extend their solo contracts with YG, the company was bound to sustain a loss, and they certainly did. In February, it was reported that YG experienced a challenging year in 2024, marking their first ever year-end in the red. Despite bringing in 365.8 billion Korean won, or approximately $250 million in revenue, they faced an operational loss of 23.9 billion Korean won, around $6.4 million. They concluded with a net deficit of around 500 million Korean won, equating to over $340,000. Though they had previously seen dips in net income like in 2019, this marked their first recorded operational loss. The financial setback was significant, making it evident that YG couldn't afford to be patient. They required an immediate fix. Many now believe that expediting BLACKPINK's tour was their strategy to try to remain afloat amidst their struggles. YG took a drastic step at the beginning of 2025 by shutting down their entire acting division. On January 17th, the company announced it would sever ties with all its actors, stating their intention to refocus solely on music. In their announcement, YG expressed gratitude to both the actors and fans for their support, assuring that they would continue to manage the actors until their current contracts conclude, but that none would be extended. This move meant that notable figures like Lee Yong-jang, Ki Young, and Son Na-eun were all released. A few days later, on January 21st, YG attempted to change the narrative by initiating something new, the 2025 Y National Audition Tour. The company embarked on an extensive talent search across 6 cities, running from February 7th to 23rd with a total of 7 audition dates, a clear push towards rebuilding with fresh faces and renewed energy. Speculation also arose regarding YG's plans to debut a new boy group this year, although nothing has been confirmed as of yet. Still, given the closure of an entire division and the start of a nationwide search, it's evident the company is in a state of urgency to recover. Observing the entire situation, it's clear why some believe BLACKPINK may have been coerced into this group tour. The members have certainly thrived on their own, and many argue they've become even more prominent in their solo endeavors than as a group. The considerable shift might have made investors anxious, particularly with YG already grappling with financial strain. Yet, rather than hurrying a group release and brief promotional cycle, YG moved forward directly. New boy group this year, although nothing has been officially validated yet. Still, from the closure of an entire division to initiating a nationwide search, it's evident that the company is in desperate need of recovery, considering everything that has transpired. It's understandable why some believe BLACKPINK was pressured into this group tour. The members have thrived on their own, and many would argue that they are even more prominent solo than they were collectively. This change likely caused investor discomfort, especially with YG already under financial strain. Yet, rather than hastily arranging a group release and a brief promotional cycle, YG chose to focus straight on. Each member has been flourishing on their own, and some might even suggest they're more successful solo than they were as a collective. This change likely caused some concern among investors, particularly with YG already facing financial challenges, but instead of hastily releasing a group album and a brief promotion period, YG opted for a different approach. For the significant earnings live tour events generate far greater income than album sales, so initiating a tour first may have been their strategy for quick stabilization. Plus, there's the worry that fans could prioritize solo albums or merchandise, leaving diminished enthusiasm and funds for the group's comeback. By revealing the tour announcement early, even before any single comeback details, they secure ticket sales and create some space for maneuver. Some believe this indicates the album wasn't ready yet and that YG needed time to delay things, but this approach encourages fans to start saving and spending on the tour first, securing income in advance before any other projects are released. What really intensified the belief that this tour wasn't planned from the outset was a blind item revealed during the Oscars. If you're unfamiliar, blind items are essentially gossip leaks that share inside information without naming individuals. However, this particular item provided enough clues for fans to connect the dots. The timing, the wording, everything about it screamed BLACKPINK, and it intensified speculation that the tour wasn't part of a long-term strategy but rather something hastily arranged behind the scenes. The blind item stated this foreign-born one-name singer claims she and fellow group members didn't wish to tour this year but felt compelled to do so. They are in essence being coerced. Although the blind item didn't specify anyone directly, it was quite apparent that the foreign artist referenced was Lisa and that the narrative surrounded BLACKPINK's upcoming tour. This disclosure led to widespread outrage, with many blaming YG Entertainment for intentionally meddling in the members' solo careers to enforce group activities. For instance, fans observed that tickets for the tour were made available just a day before Lisa's album launch, which further fueled doubts that the company prioritized the group's return over solo promotions. As one commenter pointed out, YG always announces group events or schedules right when she has something releasing. They scheduled ticket sales for BLACKPINK's World Tour Cinema exactly when her first solo dropped. Others suggested that YG could be capitalizing on the members' solo successes, assuming the company urgently needed funds and was pushing the group into more promotions for quick profit. Conversely, many fans dismissed these concerns, feeling that people were over-analyzing the situation. They noted that Young Hoonuk had talked about a BLACKPINK world tour way back in the summer of the previous year, indicating this wasn't a last-minute initiative by YG, but likely part of the group's contract discussions from the beginning, not some sudden pressure strategy. Fans also believe the solo projects appeared rushed because the entire timeline had been devised long ago, over a year and a half ago, in fact. The members themselves stated in interviews that they aimed to spend 1 year focused on solo pursuits, then reunite for group endeavors. However, establishing their own agencies and developing full albums took longer than anticipated, so to keep everything on schedule, they ended up launching their solo projects closely before the tour announcement. Nonetheless, a growing anxiety looms that this could be BLACKPINK's final chapter together as a group. Even though the members evidently care for one another and desire collaboration, their solo careers and personal projects are currently flourishing and feel like a more appropriate fit for them. The tour's title deadline has only exacerbated these fears, leading fans to speculate that this might be a way for BLACKPINK to conclude their contract with YG and offer a proper farewell before each member pursues their own path. Fans have also noted the lack of creativity in the tour's